a powerful name it is, the name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is. Let's sing this. What a powerful name it is, the name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a powerful name it is, nothing can stand against. What a powerful name it is, the name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is, the name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is, the name of Jesus. Oh, yeah. Jesus. So powerful. Oh, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. You are. There's no other name.
Just take a minute to reflect on this name, the name of Jesus. If you don't know this name, maybe you can sense even in this room that there's something beautiful about it. There's something wonderful about it.
Oh, we worship you, God. Oh, 'cause your name is wonderful to us. The name above all names, Jesus.
Sing what a beautiful name.
What a beautiful name it is. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a beautiful name it is. And nothing compares to this. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Oh, we sing of your name and how great you are to us. All that we know and all that we've known about you. Oh, yes, it's so good.
So Jesus, thank you. Thank you for your presence in our lives. Thank you, God, that you are beautiful to us. You're wonderful. You're powerful. That is something we hold on to on a daily basis. That you do go before us. That you do make a way for us because you want us to have this amazing life here on earth. You want us to experience life to the fullest. So Jesus, we sing to you today and we worship you, and we're so grateful that you are our God, a God who loves us. And in his powerful name we say amen. Amen. Thank you for singing with us. Thank you for clapping and just saying to our God. It's such an amazing time we have when we get to do that together every week. I'm going to invite you to grab a seat now as we continue.
Well, thanks again for singing with us. My name is Johnny. I'm one of the pastors here, and I get the privilege of saying, welcome to Central. We are so glad that you are here today for our baptism experience. Especially if you're a guest in the building today, maybe you showed up because someone invited you out to see them get baptized, and you're in this space and you're just trying to figure out what's going on, what's happening. Maybe this is all brand new to you. We just love the fact that you would take the opportunity to come into this space and try something new. It takes a lot of courage to step outside of your comfort zone. And so we just want to honor you. We want to thank you for being here today. We actually want to give you a gift as a simple thank you for showing up and checking it out and being a part of our family this morning. How you receive that gift is simply take the connection card, which is the blue card. You can find it in the back of the seat in front of you. Fill out some info on there, and then after this experience, you can exchange that card at the blue wall out in the lobby, and we'd love to connect with you there as well. Or if you want, you can just text the word CONNECT to our phone number, 937-5610, 905-937-5610. And if you're online today, we'd love for you to comment, interact with our online pastor. We'd love to connect with you today as well. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you are new and you're not really sure what's going on, what's happening, why we do what we do everything here at Central for two reasons. The first reason is we just want to be a place that can introduce people to faith. Sometimes that conversation about faith and about God and about the bigger questions of life is a hard conversations to engage in, to start in. So we just want to be a safe place where people feel like they can come and they can unpack and they can discover faith for themselves. And then two, we want to be a space to help people grow in that faith and become the people that they were created to be. And so we believe there's a big spectrum of where you are at on that journey. And so wherever you are at on that faith journey, we just believe that there's a place here for you to belong as we all work together to strive to live a life that really matters. And so we're just so glad that you're here with us this morning. At this time, we're going to invite our host to the front as we give. Now, again, if you are a guest here, please feel zero obligation to give. This is just something that we do every week as a church family to invest in all the things that God's doing in and through this community. So don't feel any obligation to give. But if you would like to give today, there are multiple ways you can do that, which you can see on the screen behind me. Thank you so much as you give this morning. A couple of things I want to let you know about as we give. Tonight at 6 p.m., we have our Encounter experience. Encounter is an awesome opportunity for you to come into this space, and we just take an hour, just press pause on life. Life can be busy and chaotic, and we just want to come into the space and press pause, and we want to grow together, and we want to go a little bit deeper. And so maybe you're somebody who likes to contemplate, maybe you're someone who likes to express, maybe you're just someone who likes to socialize. This is an opportunity for you to come and to grow deeper in your spiritual journey so we can become people of impact. If you've never come out to an Encounter experience, I would encourage you to come out tonight. It's going to be a good one. And so that's at 6 p.m. here this evening. Also, I don't know if you've realized, I don't know if you've noticed, but the end of November is the gap is slowly closing in November, and we are stepping into December, which is Christmas month. Yes. Some of you are already deep into celebrating already. You got the decorations and the music. Yeah. December 1st, people. That's anybody have the December 1st rule in the house? Yes, you are my people. We are a tribe. We will stick together. December 1st is when Christmas starts. But it's coming down the pipe. We're a month away, and December 23rd and 24th, we have 6 identical experiences. And again, we want to welcome you home for Christmas. And so what we want you to do is we want you to start thinking about who you can invite. Your cousin, your neighbor, your coworker, your friend, somebody who can come this holiday season, this Christmas, and experience a message of hope and of purpose. And so we just want to get you to put that on your calendar and start thinking about who you're going to invite 23rd, 24th, 3, 5, and 7 p.m. Well, now I get the pleasure of highlighting someone who I have had the opportunity to work alongside with youth. She's amazing, committed, passionate volunteer. And so I'd like you to give a warm round of applause to Heather Robertson. Good morning, Heather. So Heather does a lot of heavy lifting around here with the babies in our nursery. She's constantly doing that heavy lift, you know what I mean? So you're really heavily involved here, and you volunteer a lot. And so just help me understand, what motivated you to step into volunteering here at Central?
Yeah, so when I first started coming to Central, I just really wanted to get involved. I kind of walked in the doors and was like, wow, I love this place, and I just want to be a part of what's happening here. And for me, the best way to do that was to just get involved and get to know some people.
That's awesome. So you just jumped right in, you got plugged in. That's awesome. So you've been volunteering for a while, you've been super plugged in. So what's maybe like a highlight that you have? Like what's something that stands out to you about your experience volunteering here?
Yeah, so for me, my favorite part of being in the nursery, and it happens over and over, but I love it every time, is, we're often the first point of contact for people with their kids in nursery. It's the youngest and kind of the first time they're handing them over to somebody else. And so often parents are nervous. First-time parents, I'm handing you my kids. Some of them have never left them with anybody before. And sometimes the kids are, have a little hard time too. But what I love is when they come back after the service and they're excited. They're proud of their kids. They're proud of themselves, because sometimes it's just as hard for mom and dad usually mom. But yeah, so I love that moment of excitement when they kind of reconnect and they're happy together. And yeah, it gives the parents a chance to just come up here and have a break, like have a break from being a parent and be able to just interact with friends and just be able to worship. And yeah, I love being able to provide that opportunity.
That's awesome. It's really cool. And like, I can imagine when people hand off their children to you, like you're there every week and you're just a common face. And it's really cool that people be able to trust you with their kids. And so, it's awesome that like the point you get to be a part of, but how has it impacted you personally being volunteer and engaged at Central?
Yeah, so for me personally, it's kind of created community. You come into a big church and it can feel really big and you can kind of feel a little lost in it. And so it takes that big church feel and makes it a small church. And you kind of connect with other volunteers and get to know them. Probably people that you might not have otherwise bumped into. You know, like for us, there's teenagers all the way up to seniors. And it's really great to just connect with new people. And it just feels like a familiar home, family kind of environment. And I think that's a really great thing.
Yeah, you get that intergenerational family feel. You just get to know people and get connected.
Yeah.
Well, we love having you a part of our family. Why don't you give Heather Robertson a round of applause? Thank you so much. Such a pleasure to be able to highlight people like Heather who give so much of their time and energy in serving our community. And so if you're here and you're just wondering, how do I get connected? How do I get involved? And you're just kind of feeling things out. And maybe you want to take that next step to get engaged in our community. Well, next Sunday, we have a session called Next Steps for you to just figure out who Central is and what we're about, what we believe. How can you grow spiritually? How can you get connected in a group? And how can you get involved maybe? And so that is designed for you. So we'd love for you to connect with us. And if you have any questions, you can go to Central Connect, and they would love to answer any questions you have for that. That's all the need to know I have for you this morning. So I'd invite you to direct your attention to the screens as we continue in our series, Created to Be.
Well, good morning. How's everybody doing? Are you good? You sound good. Hey, we're so glad that you're here. My name is Bill. I'm one of the pastors here. And if you came today specifically to see someone baptized and this is your first time with us, thank you so much for being here. We recognize there are many places you could be, and you chose to be here with us, and that's really an honor for us. And if we can serve you in any way, please do not hesitate to find someone in a blue shirt, and we will do our best to answer your questions about anything, if we know the answer. And if you're watching online, please let us know where you're watching from all around the world. Again, we're super encouraged when you tell us where you're from and interact with us that way. We have people watching from all over, and it's really encouraging. And if we can serve you as well, just interact with your online pastor there. You see the chat box there. Jump right on in, ask a question, get involved in our community. Thank you for being here. Well, we are concluding our series entitled Created to Be. And we've been exploring this idea. Actually, it's more than an idea. It's a belief for us that you and I were created in the image of God. And because of that, we were created with incredible purpose and incredible power and incredible potential. So for these past 8 weeks, we've been trying to untap or explore some of the deep truths about what that really means. And so if you want to catch up, you're just joining us, you can go online to centralcc.ca and you can go under watch and you can watch some of the previous sermons. But we've been exploring this really powerful truth that your life has meaning. And so don't waste it. And so today I want to talk to you about something that you see about your future. Let me ask you this question. When you think about your future, what do you see? Or when you think about your future, how do you feel? And this is a really important question because how you answer it will impact everything. Honestly, it'll impact your relationships, it'll impact your career, your job, your health. And what I've been learning and what I want to talk to you about today is that the key to unlocking a great future is actually optimism. Now, I want to actually challenge a lot of our culture's views about optimism, though, because I think a lot of people think that optimism is just positive thinking, right? And so if you've ever been annoyed by somebody who did this to you, right? You're trying to express, you're struggling, you're battling, and they're like, oh, just believe happy things, just you be good, oh, do it. It's like, you just want to punch them in the face, right? But you can't do that because you follow Jesus. And so it's more than positive thinking. As a matter of fact, the neurologist, Dr. Tali Sharot, she's on TED Talk, you can watch her online, has actually been doing some really interesting social experiments around what she calls optimism bias. And here's what she is learning, that most of us think we're better than we are, and most of us think other people are worse than they are. So let's just do the social experiment right here, okay? Are you ready for this? Okay. So I want you to participate. If you're watching online, I know you might be all by yourself. That's okay. Just raise your hand. We'll just pretend we're all together. Okay. So here's how we're going to do this. If you believe that you get along with other people really well, let's even push it even further. Let's say you're in the top 25% of people who get along with people really well. I just want you to raise your hand. Come on, all across this place. If that's you, come on, be honest. Okay. All right. That's about 50%. Okay. Statistically impossible. Okay, I got another one for you. How many of you think that you're in the top 25% of good drivers in Ontario? Oh, yes, okay. Optimism bias, people. Optimism bias. I've seen you in the parking lot. Okay, so how many of you think you're in the top 25% of attractiveness? Oh, be honest, come on. Oh, you're all being too much. Of course, here's the reality. When it comes to perspective, we're not always the best judge, are we? And so when we talk about optimism, we're not talking about positive thinking, you can do it, get up in the morning and look at you, big lion in the mirror. We're not talking about that stuff. Because sometimes we're biased and it actually hurts us because we're not rooted in reality. Right? So yeah, I can want to play in the NFL. Like I can get up every day and look in the mirror and say, you're going to be in the NFL, you big guy. You can do it. Just go out there. The problem is I'm almost 50. And they don't let you play after like whatever, and I'm not the biggest guy. I'm not the fastest guy. I'm actually not that great a football player. So you can believe something, want something, but if it's not rooted in reality, it's just narcissism. Self-delusion. See, reality is like a platform. We all have experiences in our life, and reality can either crush us, or if we are willing to see it a little bit differently, can actually be a platform for us to be elevated to a different space. So when we talk about optimism today, we talk about what the Bible explains optimism as being. And here's what the Bible says in Romans 8:28. It says, and we know. This word know in the original language isn't head knowledge. It's rooted in experience. It's rooted in something much deeper. It's a deeper understanding than just I think it or it's a good idea. No, there's something that gives me this assurance that I know. And for those of us who believe what I'm about to read, we can tell you this is true. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him. Now, don't misunderstand this passage. It doesn't mean that those of us who love him always have things go well in our life. It doesn't mean that we always feel good. It's not talking about that at all. As a matter of fact, there's a whole twisted idea out there that if you follow this, that everything should be perfect. Everything is rainbows and butterflies, and it just isn't true. How do I know that? Because you got to read the stories in here. They're messy, they're broken, they're like normal people like you and I who struggle. Life isn't always fair, and life isn't always good. So optimism can't just be about how you feel or what you try to delude your thinking with by being positive. It's something far deeper, something far greater, something more powerful. And here's what I believe a great definition of optimism is according to the Bible. Optimism is believing that there is a purpose, regardless of the circumstance. See, this is powerful because I know enough of you and I know enough about the human experience to know that many of you come into this place and your circumstance is far less than ideal. You didn't ask for it, you didn't deserve it, it's not fair. You feel alone, you feel rejected, you feel broken, you feel frustrated. You probably asked yourself, how did I get here? Why is this happening to me? And I hope you don't walk out of this place thinking, well, Bill just said if I just think happy thoughts, it's all going to go away. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that there is a power accessible to you. The one who made you, God himself, who's willing to give you the strength to see the purpose even in your difficulty. For that is true optimism. Optimism says, I will not let my circumstance define me, but rather I will find the purpose in my circumstance. That is freedom. That is freedom. And so today I thought it'd be really cool if I just talked with who I think is the most optimistic person I have ever met in my life. Some of you are already like, get her out here right now. I know, you saw on social media. So I want you to welcome my beautiful wife, Carlene Markham, to the stage. So I surprised you with this in the first experience, but because it's second experience, you won't be surprised. But I just thought it would be really appropriate to start our conversation by honoring you. And this is true. This is not, I'm not putting this on for you. As a matter of fact, you can just look away if you like, if it gets too awkward. I'm okay with that. But, Car, the truth is that I am only who I am because of your optimism. You believed in me when not everyone did, and you were willing to do a lot of things so we could be in this place. And a lot of people wouldn't have done that, and yet you believed every time. And so I do honor you in front of our family for who you are. Yeah, thank you. So I wanted you to tell us to just talk about some of our stories, because I think when people often look at us, it's easy to think, oh, they've got it all together, it's great, they never have any problems. Well, we're going to burst your bubble. I'm sorry. But I wanted you to talk about optimism and how you see it and how it's helped you. When you think of optimism, what do you think of?
You know what? Optimism means the world to me for so many reasons, but I think primarily it means the world to me because there was somebody in my life that was optimistic with me. And they showed me what that optimism looked like, and actually it was both my parents. And they showed me that there was purpose in the middle of whatever circumstance I was going through, and they never stopped believing in me and seeing the best in me even when I couldn't see it in myself. And I thought, I want to be able to turn that around and give that away because that is such a beautiful gift. And that's something that's just been planted inside of me. And I feel like it's like a muscle, that the more that you use it, the stronger it becomes. You know how you work out in the gym?
Oh, yeah.
All you gym rats out there? Yeah? Like Bill, right here?
I know, it shows. I know.
All
those hours.
It's true. It's true. So you work out at the gym, and then you have that resistance with that muscle. It's hard to do, but in the end, what happens? That muscle grows. The more that you work it out, the more that grows inside of you. And it's pretty cool. Like, it's not just somebody that's smiling. It's not just somebody that's happy. Although I feel that is a byproduct. That's a ripple effect of being optimistic. It will actually help you become happier, and that's scientifically proven. But being optimistic is a choice. It's a way to live.
Yeah, and that choice for us, for you and I, isn't rooted in just some nice idea. It's actually rooted in a person. And this is why for us, we follow Jesus. And if this is kind of a new idea to you, you just need to know for us that we actually believe that God came And that's what Christmas is all about. He came for us, and he showed us that there was a better way to live, that even in the face of really difficult circumstances, that you could be a victor, that you didn't have to be a victim, that you didn't have to let that circumstance define you, that you could be optimistic. As a matter of fact, Paul, who's writing from a prison cell, he's been beaten, he's been falsely accused, he's about to be executed or die. In Philippians 4:12, he writes these things. He says, I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. You see, optimism isn't dependent on your circumstance. It's not how you feel. He said, I've learned the secret of being content in any and every situation. And that's regardless of what I have or don't have. Whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or what, in all of these situations, I have learned that I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And this is the secret, that when you feel like life has dealt you a blow that you're never going to get back from, we can be reminded that Jesus, we believe, came and died and rose again, defeated death, so that we could believe that that can happen for us too, that the dead things in our life can have life. And so we just came across some interesting observations. I want you to talk a little bit about some of the stories around this. And Dr. Seligman, who is like a psychologist, actually has proven that optimistic people are healthier. That actually, did you know this? If you're pessimistic, you actually are working against your own immune system. That if you're sick, it could be simply because you have a pessimistic outlook. Like, this is actually science. So talk to me about how you have experienced.
That's not the only reason you'd be sick.
No, of course
No.
not. I'm just, good point.
But it can happen.
She keeps me on the straight and narrow. That's, so talk to me about that. Like, there's a story particularly about optimism that you have in our move here. What was? Just talk about that.
Yeah. So 17 years ago, remember we moved here across the country from Abbotsford, BC. Anybody know where that is? Yeah. And so we moved here, and before we had been asked to come check out this church, I don't think I knew where St. Catharines was on the map. So it was kind of a brand new experience, right?
We were just BC. We're ignorant over there. Okay.
But we just didn't know. And but we came over here. We flew here to check out the church. We met a couple of leaders, and it was such a positive experience. And I think there were maybe about 350 people here at that time, right? So it's a little different than what it is today. And we met everybody, and we literally made a decision based on what we felt God was asking us to do. And we said, you know what, this is the right thing for us to do. We feel we need to do this. So we packed up our whole family. We had, our oldest was 7, and our daughter was 5, and our littlest was 2. We packed up all of us, moved across the country, and we land here and get into the airport, and we're sitting in the in the airport in Toronto. And I know nobody. We don't have a cell phone. And there was a mix-up with the ride situation. I didn't know what was going on, and Bill was trying to find, where our ride was and stuff. And I remember I sat there with our kids, and they're all crying and hungry, and I don't know where we're going and where we're even sleeping that night, And I literally, I start crying. And I'm like, what am I doing? I just moved my whole family, packed everybody up I don't even know anybody here, right? This is such a huge, overwhelming experience. But in the midst of that moment, I felt like God was just reminding me, you know what, Carlene, there's a purpose for you guys being here. Just remember the reason why you moved here. There's something coming. There's something important that you're supposed to do here. And so that just snapped out that perspective, and it was like a change, and I went, okay, that's right. And suddenly everything was just like able to be handled so much more clearly, because I remembered what the purpose was in that moment. And honestly, I cannot even imagine had we not moved here. I mean, our lives have changed so much for the better. We absolutely love living here in Niagara. We love you people. We love everybody that's just been a part of our lives, and we feel like this is our family. And I can't even imagine had we not taken that and decided to change that perspective.
That's right, and it's not always been easy.
No.
Because like you said, and for me, if you're a guy, maybe you don't think this way, I do, I'm supposed to take care of this group of people, and we're all a mess, and I have no way to know, I don't know even who to call or where to turn.
Yeah.
And the one person we did know wasn't picking up his phone. Thanks, Darren. And so it was it was not easy, and yet when you look back, it was that anchoring thought that there was a purpose in it. I remember when I fell, we were in Costa Rica and I fell off that cliff and could have died.
Yeah.
And I remember being in emergency and they're stitching me back together and it was excruciatingly painful. But in the middle of it all, I had that same sense. I'm here for a purpose. And so I said this to this doctor. And so I'm in another country. What are the chances I'm going to meet him? And I said, I actually think we were supposed to have a conversation today. And I can't explain it to you. It took the pain and gave it purpose.
Yeah.
And it was actually a really powerful, beautiful experience. So optimism can make you healthier, but optimism can also be learned. Like that's the thing you gotta understand. Like some people think, oh well, it's just not my thing. That's just not true. So talk about how you instilled that in our family.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I thought when we were getting around the junior high raising stage with our kids, if anybody here has junior high kids,
Be optimistic.
be
It's
honest,
fun.
be honest.
It's fun.
Junior
Hormones.
Junior
Okay.
high can be fun.
Yep.
It's rewarding, but it can be challenging, a little more than a lot of the other age groups. And if you're not there yet, hang on, it's coming. But
And if you are in junior high, we love you.
If you are in junior high, we love you.
You're the best. Hang in there.
And we're
It gets
cheering
better,
you
I
on.
promise.
We're cheering you on. But I remember some nights around the dinner table, I found just like this angst with the kids because they'd all come from various circumstances and experiences in their schools, and they were feeling, left out or bullied or whatever the case may be. Kids are just that way sometimes to each other, unfortunately, and it's our job to help find the better part in that. And so I had this thought. I thought, well, what if we just started making it a family ritual every night at dinner that we would go around the table and we would say to the kids and say, okay, I want to hear from every one of you. Dad and I are going to do this too, okay? I want to hear from everybody. We're going to go around the table, and we're going to say one good thing that happened to us in our day. And we'll have one thing that was hard in your day as well. And I didn't say to the kids, tell me if you have one good thing. No, I said, I want to hear one good thing. So sometimes they had to dig a little bit deeper into that moment so that they could find that one good thing. And sometimes it was really minute, but it was a step. And they actually began to look forward to sharing and having their little moment of the good thing that they were able to find, because now they're thinking about that, and they're like intentionally focusing on looking for that good thing that happened.
And be honest, who was the grumpiest about doing this exercise every day? I wanted to wallow in my misery. I wanted to stay angry. I wanted to stay bitter. And it was like, when you say something good, you just can't. It's like really, really hard. And actually, you inspired me so much with that I actually picked up on it and borrowed it when my kids were playing volleyball. And every day when we'd play volleyball, we'd go to a tournament or whatever, I'd start the day with my kids and I'd say, what is your purpose today? And if they'd say, to play volleyball or to win, I'd say, no, that's what we get to do. What's your purpose today? And they'd say, well, maybe to encourage somebody or maybe to be a good sport or to learn more about myself. And at the end of the day, we'd always debrief, and did you live in your purpose today? Because then, regardless of whether you win or lose, right, you could still have purpose. Yeah. Right? Even if you had a bad game, maybe you got pulled off, you got sat on the bench, maybe you didn't get to play at all, whatever. It was rooting it in purpose that gave meaning to that. And then everything was tolerable. Actually, everything was not only acceptable, but it was exciting. Because you could lean into it. And so optimism can be learned. And the other thing is that optimism is powerful. And so there's a story. There's a reason why not only are you here in Ontario, but your family is here in Canada. And it was because of a family trait that was instilled generations ago. So just talk really quickly about that.
Yeah, so my family heritage is from Sweden and Norway. And it's funny, both of my family's heritage ended up in here as a result of what a lot of people would look at as accidents. But I don't believe that was the case. But my great-grandparents, Carl and Elin, I'm named after him, go figure, they actually decided to immigrate after receiving a telegram from Canada one day that her uncle had passed away in an unfortunate woodcutting accident, and he ended up willing all of his land to his niece, my great-grandmother. And it's funny, a few years before this, she had this dream one night that she was looking out and she saw this huge open expanse of water and this wheat waving in the wind. Now, For us, that might seem like nothing. For them in northern Sweden where they lived, up where the reindeer are that you sing about with Santa, okay? It's up there.
So they're
And,
real?
They're real.
Santa's real? I knew it.
And he's
Don't
Swedish.
say you never learn anything in church. Okay.
So they got that where they lived, they were surrounded completely by forest. They'd never seen any wheat fields up there, and they'd never seen the open ocean exactly where they lived. So this was something brand new for her. And when they got that telegram, she knew that there was some significance with that dream.
Purpose.
Yep. And so what happened, they sold all that they had. It took them a long time to arrange it all, but they sold all they had, and they took their 7 kids and sailed across the Atlantic to come to Canada and got train passage all the way to Alberta, where they ended up inheriting the land. Well, in the meantime, while they're coming across, their Swedish trustee in Canada was busy selling off their property and pocketing the money for himself. So by now, about 50% of the property that they were inheriting had now been sold away. And had it not been for a neighbor who actually paid attention to what was happening, he put a stop to it, they would have come here with absolutely nothing. And they landed in Alberta, and all they were was grateful. They realized what had happened to them, but all they were was just filled with gratitude because they had something. And then very shortly after that, one of their daughters, she was 14 years old, she was asked to take care of a really sick neighbor who had tuberculosis. And in that time, nobody realized that tuberculosis was contagious. And she too contracted it, and she passed away shortly after that as well. So they had these tragedies, tragedy after tragedy. They lost another son in a blizzard, in a train, involving a train. I mean, there were all these things that happened to them. But they stood their ground in the purpose for why they believed they had come to this new land, to start a new legacy, to start new futures, new hopes for those to come. And I think about that, and the story of this land being stolen from them actually never was passed on to their own children. It never once talked about it. I don't know if any of us parents could avoid dropping that information to our kids if that had happened to us. Could we? If I ask myself, sometimes I wonder, like, how would I hold that back? But they just never even brought it up. The kids and descendants never found out about it until after their death. And they were so focused on the purpose. And they took that around and they chose to make something beautiful of it. They chose a good life, and they chose to make something incredible out of a very, very desperate, difficult situation for them.
Yeah, and so I think, I hope you're hearing this, that yeah, you can't always control your circumstance. Mm-hmm. You can't. And we feel this. You just need to know, when we talk about the stories, your stories, we cry for some of the situations you've been forced to be in. And it's not fair. And it's not right. And you can't always control it. But you can control how you see the circumstance. And I hope that you walk out of this place with a renewed sense of understanding that no matter where I find myself, it doesn't have to stay that way. And I don't have to be a victim. That there's a God who's fighting for me and believes in me. And when I feel like I'm all alone and no one understands, actually identifies with me in my suffering. This is the powerful part of the Bible where it says, for the joy set before him, he endured the cross. And I don't know if you've seen The Passion. I don't know if I'd put joy and cross in the same sentence. And yet, the reason he could have joy was because he saw the purpose, that if he would die, it would be a transformational experience for all of us to believe that love can win, even in the ugliness of this world. And that if Jesus could die and forgive those who would crucify him, we can too. And if he refused to let that define him, we don't have to let it define us. And if he could rise again, the things that we think are dead in our life can actually be a catalyst to life, something new. And so I want you to finish. You said something really powerful to me back there just a minute ago. And you said, this is the one thing I want somebody in this space to hear. And so you need to say that to somebody.
So the thought that I have is this. What if that thing that seems so impossible, that difficulty that seems so insurmountable, what if you walking through that is going to help you to be able to help somebody else who needs you? And you wouldn't know how to do that if you didn't go through it. It's perspective.
Yeah. She's so easy to love. She is a gift to all of us. And so we're gonna celebrate baptism now. And if you're new to this, you just need to get ready, okay? If you thought the opening was a party, that was just the appetizer, okay? You're about to see party. And if you came with somebody who is going to be baptized, yeah, I'm going to get those who are going to be baptized. You come right up on here. You're welcome to come up here, get a picture, celebrate with them. But here's why this is important. What's about to happen is powerful. Now, there's nothing magical or mystical about the water, but there is something really powerful in the symbolism. Here's what's happening. In this moment, those who are about to be baptized are making a declaration. It is a statement. And it is the statement that no matter what circumstance I've experienced in my life, there is a God who I believe is going to turn it into something great. When they go into that water, we are identifying with the death of Christ and saying that old life, those old habits, those old thoughts, those old limitations, they're dying. They no longer hold me. And when I come up out of that water, something new is happening in me. Like a baby being born, new life is coming. It's optimism, not naive, positive thinking, not rooted in something fictitious, but in the reality that there is a God who can make all things new. So our prayer is that in their act of optimism, you too could believe that God could do something for you, that you could identify with him in his death and resurrection, and that your future could be amazing because he'll give you the strength to see a different way. Let's celebrate those who are being baptized this morning.
Hey, why don't we all stand and celebrate? Waking up knowing there's a reason. All my dreams come alive. Life is for living with you. I've made my decision. You lift me up, fill my eyes with wonder. Forever young in your love, this freedom's untainted. With you, no moment is wasted. See the sun now bursting through the clouds, black and white, turn to color all around. All is new, in the Savior I am found. This is living now. This is living now. You lead the way, God, you're right beside me. yet. If he did it before, he can do it again. So I'll trust him with what comes next. Yeah, my hindsight said I can count on what's good. My God isn't finished yet. He did it before, he can do it again. So I'll trust him with what comes next. For the God I know is known for faithfulness. Says I can trust it with what's there. For the God I know is known for faithfulness.
There's one thing I'm asking, one thing I'm needing, a moment that's passing. It's not what I'm seeking. Like it's the air I'm breathing. I want your presence, feet on the earth, heart full of heaven. Zeal for you completely consumes me. I can't get it up, can't get enough of you. Your fire burning right through me. I can't get it up, can't get enough of you. Yeah, can't get enough of you. Yeah, can't get enough of you. I'm after the spirit more than a feeling. I don't need a reason to keep chasing who you are. Like it's the air I'm breathing. I want your presence, feet on the earth, heart full of heaven. Come on, feel for you completely consumes me. I can't get enough, can't get enough of you. Your fire burning right through me. I can't get enough, can't get enough of you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Can't get enough of you. Oh, Jesus. Can't get enough of you. Every beat is yours. You can have it all. Take over like only you can. All I'm reaching for, you and nothing more. Take over like only you can. Sing it out. Every beat is yours. You can have it all. Take over like only you can. All I'm reaching for, you and nothing more. Take over like only you can. Zeal for you completely consumes me. I can't get enough of you. Your fire burning right through me. I can't get enough of you. Jesus, can't get enough of you. Can't get enough of you.
Wow, so you gotta check your feeler if you don't feel something, because Man, that is powerful. And today we didn't want you just to hear something and learn something. We wanted you to feel and experience something. That there is a God that no matter what your circumstance, no matter what your situation, is greater and can give you purpose. And I'm telling you, this is one of the most incredible, powerful, exciting, special things that we do as a church family. Because it reminds us that God is never done with us. That if we trust Him, we trust that He can do it in us. It's possible. All things are possible through Christ who gives me strength. All things. All things. And so, if you're watching online and this is kind of a new experience for you, would you just interact with our online pastor? We'd love to tell you a little bit more. Ask your questions. We want you to experience optimism, not positive thinking, optimism, rooted in the fact that there's a God who's fighting for you and there's a purpose for your life. And if you're here today and you don't know really what we're talking about and you'd like to learn a little bit more, just go to the Great Big Blue Wall. Or if you'd like to be baptized today, you're like, well, I'm not ready. Yeah, you are. Yes, you are. If you're ready, just go to the Great Big Blue Wall and you can be baptized in our next experience. And so again, I bless you. I bless you with the truth that your life has purpose and meaning. That you were created not by some cosmic accident, but by a God, a personal God, who created you to experience His love and to live in this life with meaning and purpose. So may you experience that. May you learn what it means to die to yourself and live for Him, to live the way you were designed, to who you were created to be. May you live with optimism that no matter what your circumstance, that you actually believe that God can turn it into something good and you can still find purpose even in the darkness of this world. So may you live in that as light in the darkness this whole week. I bless you in the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Amen.